Hello, and welcome to Brand Clarity by Visions2images, where we focus on strategy and business development for entrepreneurs at all different levels through branding and digital marketing techniques. Susie Liberatore is the founder and art director of Visions2images Creative Services, LLC. For the last decade, she has personally been instrumental in bridging gaps between the global digital market and neighborhood locations for some of the biggest brands around. Growth is possible for even a single location with the right professional branding techniques and Susie's signature strategies of Visions2images. Stand out from your competitors and bring your visions to life while watching your sales skyrocket. Your host for this is Susie Liberatore, owner of Visions2images. Hello, everybody. I have Chad Wilson on the podcast today with Engage Virtual Range. He has two different locations in Ohio, Avon Lake and Medina. And I'm super excited. I was able to actually go into this virtual range. It's fun and it's different and it's unique. I really liked how confident I could feel after I left, knowing that I had that ability to use a gun again. I haven't shot in a very, very long time, and it's virtual, so it's not a real gun, but it was so helpful and insightful to really be able to be reassured and be able to use that. So I'm super excited to have Chad on. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Susie. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to share our story.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about you first and foremost, your background and how you even got started into this.
Like a lot of new businesses, it was by accident. I have a career in sort of a unique career. I'm an IT entrepreneur, and really what I mean by that is I've got a career in developing companies that are usually process oriented and have a lot of technology to facilitate automation, dating back to the .com boom. And so for the last 20 some years, I've been developing businesses that, like I said, are procedural in nature, have not been in the world of franchising, but have been in various e-commerce and type industries. And so I had actually sold a business in 2016 that my wife and I had created and was looking for a new venture, and took a few years to kind of find it. But the accidental part of this was a good friend of mine, Cal Davis, and I were interested in getting our wives more exposure with firearms and sharing with them the training and getting them comfortable with it. And so we went to a live fire range in our backyard, and it was it wasn't literally in our backyard, but nearby. Right. And it was a horrible experience. It was a dingy, loud, other customers, panning firearms around. And so the short story really is it didn't achieve the training goals that Cal and I were looking to achieve. And so we started looking around and wanted to find an alternative way to get our wives exposure to firearms so that they were comfortable. We had them in the house. We wanted them to feel comfortable with them in the house. And if they ever needed to use them, have some experiences to draw from. We found a place in North Canton called, I don't remember the actual name of it, but it was a virtual range, and Cal had actually found it, and he said, "Let's go check this out. Maybe this is some way we can get some training for our wives." And so I said, "Okay, I've never heard of such a thing, but let's go see what it's all about." And so we did, and we got there. We pulled up, and again, the short story is we pulled up. It was a used car sales lot, and down in the marquee it said the name of the company, and we're like, all right, must be in the right place. We walk in, the guy's selling guns and all sorts of other random stuff, used cars, obviously. And so he said, "Oh, follow me." And we go down these studded walls into the basement, the dingy basement. And, I was glad I was with somebody. But he fired up his simulator. And for an hour, we had a fantastic time. It was one of the neatest experiences. And before the hour's over, I'm like, oh, man, this is neat. I never heard of such a thing as, I'm Googling it. Cal's taking some shots and in the simulator. And I'm Googling, hey, virtual shooting ranges in the U.S. And there's only a couple, and I'm like, boy, this is really interesting. So we spent almost a year in researching and interviewing some vendors that we knew would be key to this, and writing a business plan. And then ultimately ended up opening up our Medina location in August of 2019 as a pilot. Signed a short-term lease, and we said, hey, is there a business model here? And the ultimate goal was to replicate it. So we didn't know in the early days if we'd raise a massive amount of capital to take it national, or if we go down the path of franchising. But we knew that we needed to build a model and a system and all of the technology to replicate the business and do this more than just once. And so that's what we kicked off in August of 2019 was a pilot location. We started getting feedback. We had some giant check marks we needed to check off. Would people pay what we needed to pay? Would they come back? We didn't want to be a one and done type of experience. And, did they think it was authentic? And so there was some pretty big check marks, and we started checking them off, and we got to the end of the list, and it was like, oh my gosh, I think we're onto something here.
Yeah.
And so we actually finished the Medina location. We originally didn't even build it out entirely, so we hurriedly finished it, only to be greeted with COVID. But we navigated that, and even during the COVID, said let's open a second location. We've learned a ton of things in Medina. We need to open a second location. We need to prove the concept one more time so that we can confidently go out and sell franchises. Meant to mention, and in all of that, we decided to franchise over raising capital, and so we figured that was a better pathway to local ownership and the I think the pride and the enthusiasm that can come more locally than it can from a corporate entity. And so we said let's invest in everything we need to do to start franchising. We had our FDD developed, and then went on to open up our second location in Avon Lake, and that was sort of our proving ground for franchising. So we knew the concept worked, but we also needed to go a step further and know that the brand and the process and all the operational pieces would work a second time. And it did. And both locations are now open. Looks like COVID's in our rear view mirror. And so we're off to the races.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. I love it. I love hearing all about all of the different pieces of how you've kind of grown and where you are now. Obviously, we work a lot with franchises, and we always love working with, startup franchises as well, because there's so much opportunity there, and building those marketing things and putting it into place to really get what you need. So I'm excited for your growth. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. And I know when I went there, it was totally different. I mean, I didn't necessarily even know what to experience, like we talked about. But I mean, I love the fact the story started because of your wives, right? Like females aren't always confident. They think guns are not safe sometimes if they're not a gun lover. And they don't really understand, okay, it's okay to have a gun. It's okay to shoot a gun. It's okay to have fun with a gun too. I shouldn't say fun with a gun, but understanding the value of what a gun is and how to really use it is important. So I liked that. And like I said, I haven't shot in a very, very long time. And so it was very interesting to kind of, find out that my left eye is dominant again, because I forgot. It was interesting to see all of the different categories in stimulator that you can choose from, and how there's so much learning that you can do. And then there's games for competition and all these different pieces. So it was different for me to experience, because I honestly didn't know what it was. And I thought, I would just be shooting things, and not really learning, being confident, and having fun at the same time. So I think there's a huge opportunity there.
Hey there, I want to interrupt this episode with a quick message. If you're listening to this podcast episode and want to learn about branding your franchise or small business, then go to brandingbridge.com. That's branding-bridge.com.
Yeah, thanks. No, and we found that too. When we started the business, our brand really leaned towards training. We felt that law enforcement and enthusiasts would be the mainstay of our customers. And what we've learned in the last couple of years is yes, they are absolutely customers for us, but there's a huge market for those who maybe have shot in the past, have always had an interest, lacked the confidence to do so. And even into the entertainment market, we get folks in all the time that come recreationally, that want to do competitions, and probably will never own their own firearm, but have a willingness to do shooting as a recreation. And so that's a huge part of what we've learned in the last couple of years. And it even goes as far as corporate events. That was something in the early days we hadn't put much thought to. Would companies come in and do team building type exercises? And so we've pivoted on that and created missions. And so these are experiences where companies can come in and bring their teams and work on a mission. Think of an escape room kind of thing, but with strategy and working together to accomplish something. And so those are been a big surprise, that the openness and willingness of companies too to come in and experience what we have and do networking and team building.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. Perfect. I mean, there's so much team building that needs to happen, especially now that COVID is, like you said, kind of behind us. People want to get out, they want to go and do things. And so many people have missed out on, team building exercises, gatherings, event parties, hosting, etc. So, I mean, it's amazing to kind of have all of that come together, to be honest.
Yeah, we're excited.
So what are you most excited about right now as far as the business goes?
We validated quite a number of things about the business, and the enthusiasm that we're getting from potential franchise candidates, our customers, The fact that they're coming back is very exciting. So we're really enthusiastic about the future of this type of business and think that we're on the cutting edge. We are the only brand out there today that's offering a franchise in this space. I suspect we'll have a competitor, but as a business, we daily talk about how we raise the bar to keep that gap between us and any future competitor as big as we can. So our goal is, and we're very enthusiastic about being first to market, getting that national footprint out there.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, there's nothing out there, and it's like, it's a whole new world essentially. And people are into virtual these days as well, in a sense of, there's all of this virtual reality and all these other programs that people can do, but it's not the same as yours.
Yeah. And we've prepared ourselves to do competitions and other things so that facilities, if somebody, a facility in Ohio could compete with groups in Florida or Texas and other areas.
Ooh.
And so we envision that virtualization of the experience at our facilities is only going to grow. And cloud technology and some other things have really made that a lot easier these days.
Back when COVID first started, my family and I were big components of game nights and stuff. So I think it was one Christmas, I can't remember. Regardless, we couldn't all be together because it was just so insane. And we tried to play games virtually online, but it wasn't the same. So I would definitely think that that's a huge opportunity, to have that kind of togetherness and playing with people wherever they are.
Lots to do in the future as entertainment and training evolve.
No, I'm excited for the growth. I'm super pumped for you. My last question is kind of, what advice would you give somebody? It can be personal, it can be business, it can be whatever. What advice would you give somebody, whether they're just starting out or they're looking to get invested with the franchise, etc.?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's probably 50 things that I could advise on. It takes a ton of grit to get started. From a franchisee standpoint, a lot of that is part of what you're buying in a brand and what the infrastructure is that you're getting into. So you want to make sure that you team up with a franchisor that understands process and training and all the important things that will help you be successful in your business. I would say too, don't underestimate marketing and the investments needed to market, whether it's something like a virtual range or a pizza store. It's never enough. It seems. I always historically I've kind of underestimated the need and the investment required to properly market, particularly in local markets. That's vitally important. So yeah, hook up with good brands and don't underestimate marketing. Would be a couple things that
I agree. I mean, obviously I'm going to agree with marketing 100%. I mean, if you want to grow your business, you definitely, or build a franchise model, you definitely need to invest in the marketing for sure. But yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? And I mean, the procedures and operations, like I always think I'm not the greatest at procedures and operations and all of that stuff, but I obviously can do the marketing. So it's always important to partner up with the right people, however you decide to do that, so that you can get the best results. I like it.
Yeah. And look for experts. You can't do it all, and you can't do it all in an expert way. Everybody can post to Facebook. That's easy, but to do it with strategy and in a way that inspires folks to click through and engage is a talent.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. And the other part about it too is if, like, a lot of times when you go onto Facebook and or any other online platform, right? Like if you're not spending and investing in paid advertising, it's not necessarily going to grow. Like you can't always do organic. Organic is great to start with and to keep doing, but you need that paid advertising to kind of complement it and really grow that audience.
Agreed.
Perfect. All right. Well, that is it. That's all I have for you. I loved chatting and kind of sharing all these amazing things. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I'm happy to help, and we look forward to working more with you.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Susie.
Thank you, everybody, for listening in on today's Brand Clarity episode with Susie Liberatore. 2 things. First and foremost, please, if you liked this episode, please subscribe and leave some positive reviews. Also, don't forget to sign up for Stop Sending Your Customers to the Competition and get my insider secrets to compelling branding that converts. You can find that at branding-bridge.com. It's a free workbook for you to check out right now, all of the branding techniques and strategies that I use for my paying clients.